I'd like you to take a moment to imagine this scenario with me. You've been training for months, and you're standing on the edge of a huge moment, and instead of feeling powerful, you're paralyzed by fear and anxiety. I'm talking about the kind of anxiety that gets your stomach in knots. Your brain becomes foggy and confused like you've almost never been a human before in your entire life. That was me at my first jiu-jitsu competition years ago. I had been training in jiu-jitsu at that point for probably 3 to 4 years, and all of my friends, coaches, training partners, they all were encouraging me to sign up and go to a competition, saying, "Oh, you need to try it. You need to test your skills. You're so good. Like, you should go competition. You'll crush it." I was like, okay. I mean, I'd been training for a few years. I felt pretty confident, and they were encouraging me. And I felt like I had the ability to. So I went ahead and I signed up. I went online, I put in my weight, my skill level, I paid my entry fee, and when I signed up to the competition, it was about 3 months out. So I figured I had, plenty of time to train and prepare and get my body in the right competition shape, get my cardio up, work on my technique, refine some of the things that I had already known and been working on. At that point, once I signed up, I felt really motivated. I wanted to go in there and crush it, kill the competition. I was going to the gym 2 times a day, almost 4 to 5 times per week, on top of already lifting weights at the gym probably 2 to 3 times a week. And I was getting up at like 6 or 7 in the morning every day to go to the morning classes. And then again, I would go at 7 p.m. to the night classes. And I was pushing myself to the limit every single time, every single training session. Felt like I was going to throw up, but I would just keep going. At my first gym, they actually had a bucket on the side of the mat. Like when you tried to go into you had to like do tryouts for the competition team at my first gym, and they ran you through a ringer of like 5, 10 different black belts, and you had to go nonstop for an hour straight. And if you threw up, then you had to throw up on the side of the mat in a bucket, and you just kept going. And if you quit, if you gave up, then you didn't make the team. You didn't make the cut. But if you threw up, but you still kept going and you finished that hour-long workout, that, grueling session, then you would make the team. And so I didn't necessarily go through that because I was at a different gym, but I was going quite a bit. I'd never trained or prepared or studied for anything like this in my life. About a week from the competition, I felt more prepared for this competition than anything I had ever trained or studied for before in my life. But that was about a week out, and that's about the time the anxiety started to creep in. It's that still small voice in the back of my mind that was causing me to doubt myself a little bit. Are you sure you can win? What if you lose all your friends are watching? What if you get injured? What if your dad's watching and he doesn't love you anymore? Obviously those are ridiculous to think of, but at first the voice was pretty quiet and it was manageable. Those thoughts I could bear. But I would go to the gym and train, and those thoughts would start to go away and I would feel better again. But every single day, as I inched closer and closer to the competition, that voice just kept growing louder. And then the night before the competition, I had to travel. The competition was about an hour and a half away from my house, so I stayed in a hotel room. And I just could not sleep. I couldn't sleep for the life of me. I couldn't sleep. Now, I'm used to staying up late and not really sleeping much, but this was like another level of sleep deprivation. I think I only got like maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep. And my resting heart rate increased probably every single hour, and it felt like there was nothing I could do to control it. I just kept imagining different scenarios in my head that could go wrong, and I eventually passed out. But again, 2 to 3 hours before my competition is probably not a very good sign. I woke up, I headed to the gym where my competition was being held, and I weighed myself in. Luckily, I was perfectly on weight, which gave me some slight relief, but only for a short while. I had probably 4 hours before I would have my first match, so I took my coach's advice, and I had a small breakfast to get some carbs before the competition. My coach, I think, is a little bit insane, though, because he would tell me that he went to McDonald's before competitions and he would get the big pancake breakfast right before competing, which I thought was insane. So I tried to eat small. I had some like eggs and bacon and some toast. I might have ate a little bit too much, but I felt like, yeah, you're probably right. I probably do need to get some carbs into me before I start competing. I don't want to, run out of energy because I don't have any food in me, which is weird though, because whenever I go to the gym and lift weights, I do it on an empty stomach. And whenever I go to the gym and lift weights after I've had something to eat, unless it's been like 5 to 6 hours after I ate, I end up feeling sick to my stomach. And I don't know if that's just a me thing or if anybody else can relate to that. Let me know in the comments. I went back to the competition after I ate, and while I was there, there's this, if you've ever been to a competition like a wrestling tournament or a jiu-jitsu competition, they have a mat in the center of the gym. Usually it's a high school gym, and there's barricades up sometimes, and there's just hundreds of people that are there competing and then also not competing, just coaches, friends, and family members watching their loved ones perform. And they're all just watching these matches. And I still had a few hours before my first match was about to start, so I had nothing else to do but to watch the matches, which was also probably a mistake because watching other people compete just caused the anxiety to go up, and it caused me to, see what other people were doing. I was overthinking, oh, I forgot about that. I was just overthinking things and not focusing on what I needed to focus on. And also some of my friends and training partners were competing on that day. So I was watching their matches, and most of the guys that I watched compete won their matches pretty convincingly, which also didn't help my situation because now I'm feeling even more pressure to perform and win because I'm like, okay, well, if all my teammates won, that means I need to win too, right? Keep in mind, this is, my first competition. A lot of these guys have also, they've competed before. They've gone through this. More times than I have, at least. And so, yeah, I was feeling way more pressured on top of my increasing heart rate. You're in that gym and there's all these guys there that are training and competing, and your heart rate is just going up. You're in a fight or flight response pretty much the entire day, and your heart rate just does not go down. Your anxiety levels, the butterflies in your stomach, it just keeps getting worse and worse every second that passes by, closer and closer to the time. And you don't know exactly when they're going to call your name. So I'm standing around waiting, thinking I'm going to be up next, and then they keep changing the times and they push it back. I was supposed to compete at 12, and now it's 1 o'clock. Now it's 2 o'clock. And then finally my name is called over the speaker. I walked up to the mat. I faced my opponent. We shook hands. The ref says, fight. And I ran away. No, I'm kidding. Definitely did not do that. Maybe I should have run away though. That actually might have looked cooler than what I ended up doing, which was shaking hands and then going after this guy with 100% of my energy and completely gassing myself out in probably 0.3 seconds. I got taken down, and then I lost by 3 points just off the takedown because he took me down, he got his 3 points, and then he basically just stalled the rest of the match. And I was trying my absolute hardest to get some points, get a sweep, stand up and get a takedown of my own. I tried everything, but my mind went blank. After that match, I had zero energy. I could barely lift my arms, rather, and I still had 4 more matches left. Think about that. You completely gas out in the first 30 seconds of the match, and it's the first match. You still have 30 more, or not 30, you still have 4 more matches left. Okay, this is going well. I really could not, I felt like my muscles, my tendons, they were all completely sore. I couldn't make a fist with my hand, I remember. And by the way, I thought I had like 5 to 10, I looked at the times on my matches. I thought I had probably 5 minutes in between each match. No, I had probably 30 seconds actually. And then I had to go again. against a new opponent who was fresh and full of energy. I'll spare you the details of every single match, but I ended up going 1-3. And at the end, all my coaches, my friends, they were all congratulating me. My dad was there. They were all telling me I did a good job. You know, they were patting me on the back, giving me, you know, good old boys. And the one match that I did win, they were all saying, you know, I did great. And the ones that I lost, they were still telling me, you know, you did a good job. You went out there, you competed, you put yourself out there. Maybe they were just trying to be nice. Maybe it was because they really did think I did good. I'll never really know. But what pained me the absolute most was knowing that I didn't set out to do what I had trained for and prepared for. I didn't accomplish what I was in my mind and in my body knowing that I was capable of doing. That was the worst part. Rather than doing what I had trained for and focusing on that, I let my anxiety get the best of me. I allowed those negative voices to consume my thoughts leading up to the event and during the event, which made me put all my focus and attention onto those thoughts, those doubts and anxious thoughts, rather than focusing on my techniques and my preparation. And that was the worst part about it. It wasn't the fact that I went out and lost. It wasn't, you know, what my friends and family thought of me. No. It was that I let my anxiety get the best of me. So I set out to continue training and to do another competition and to keep going and pushing forward. And probably the best advice that I had gotten training for my next competition a year later was, hey man, I've competed 50 times, more than that probably. The anxiety never goes away. You just get better at controlling it and getting used to it, embracing it. And that stuck with me, and I took that with me to my next competition. And yes, experience does help, but embracing the anxiety for my next competition made an immense difference, more than I could ever imagine. And the person that told me this was somebody that I respected a lot, that had competed numerous times and performed very well. And when I trained and prepared, it was exactly the same as the first time. But this time, when I got to the competition, I felt the anxiety, but I knew that I was going to have those thoughts, and I expected it. And I, rather than thinking about the anxiety, I just embraced it. And I said, yeah, you know what? Maybe I will lose. Maybe I do get tapped out. You know, maybe I do get choked out. Maybe somebody might think that I suck. But you know what? I went out there and I tried. And I know that those thoughts are just thoughts. And until they actually happen, it doesn't mean anything. So go out there and give it your all and give it your best and just keep going forward and keep trying, because that's how you get better and that's how you learn and grow. And that's what I did. I went out there and I absolutely crushed it. I won every single one of my matches. I almost won every single one by submission. The last guy that I faced was really, really good. He was probably better than what he should have been at that skill bracket, but whatever. I still went out there and I was so much happier that not even that I won. I wasn't even happy that I won. I was happy that I embraced the anxiety and that I stepped out onto the mat and I did what I set out to do and what I trained for. And that's, if you can take anything away from this story, it's that, yes, anxiety is a part of life. It's going to be there. There's no way to completely remove anxiety. You can try by using substances, you can try by talking to people, sure, but what you need to know and understand is, and this will help you in the long run, is that whether you're presenting in front of a class in a group of people, you're going to get anxious, but what's going to help you perform to your absolute best is knowing that and using it. Use that anxious energy to push you to do better, to work harder, and to perform your absolute best. Just embrace it. Embrace the anxiety and use it to your best ability. I was going to say use it to your good, but that doesn't actually sound right. Anxiety can be a tool if you use it correctly. If you understand how it actually works, you can use it to help you perform. If you enjoyed this, I would like your comments, your feedback. And if you're interested in more videos like this, take a look at this video that I have coming up next.